Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Devrat Mishra from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module electric properties from the paper Electronic, Magnetic and Optical Properties of Materials. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. The first we will see what is the fundamental of dielectric constant. You will learn about electric dipole moment and its derivation. Next, we will see the detailed study of electric flux density, polarizability, and source of polarizability. So the first one is dielectric constant and polarizability. Dielectrics are materials which have no free charges. All electrons are bound and associated with the nearest atoms. An external field causes, if we apply an external field, then that may cause a small separation of the centers of the electron cloud and the positive ion core, so that each infinitesimal element of volume behaves as an electric dipole. So dielectrics may be subdivided into two groups, one is non-polar, another is polar. So what is non-polar? That we have seen above. And in case of polar dielectrics, the molecules or atoms possesses a permanent dipole moment which is ordinarily randomly oriented but becomes more or less oriented by the application of an external electric field. To start with, we will first talk about the electric dipole moment. Electric dipole moment. Electric dipole as an entity composed of two opposite charges of equal magnitude, q and minus q, which in the figure 1 we can see. So there are two charges, one is plus q, another is minus q. The dipole moment of that assembly is given by mu is equal to q into d, where d is the distance from negative to the positive charge. The electric dipole moment is therefore equal to 1 of the charge times distance between them. Electric dipole is a vector quantity. The unit of electric dipole moment is dBi, and as we know that 1 dBi is equal to 3.3 into 10 to the power minus 30 coulomb into meter. In 1837, Faraday experimentally found that when an insulating material, so-called dielectric, such as mica, glass or polystyrene etc., is introduced between the two plates of a capacitor, it is found that the capacitance is increased by a factor which is greater than 1. This factor is known as the dielectric constant ER, epsilon r of the material. It was also found that this capacitance is independent of the shape and size of the material, but it varies from material to material. For glass, the dielectric constant is 6, while for water it is 80. Now we will prove that how the presence of the dielectric or insulating material is responsible for the increase in the capacitance. We imagine that two plane parallel plates of area A and separation d are charged with a surface charge density q, one plate being positive and the other negative. If the space between the plates is evacuated and if d is small compared with the dimensions of the plates, there will result a homogeneous electric field between the plates. The field strength is given by E vacuum is equal to q by A into epsilon 0. The potential difference between the plates is equal to phi vacuum is equal to q into d by A into epsilon 0, and the capacitance of the system is defined by C is equal to q by phi vacuum, which is equal to q times A divided by phi vacuum. Suppose now that the space between the plates is filled with an insulating substance, the charge on the plates being kept constant. It is then observed that the new potential difference phi is lower than phi vacuum, and similarly the capacitance C of the system is increased. The static dielectric constant is then defined by epsilon r is equal to phi vacuum by phi, which is equal to C by C vacuum. Thus, as a result of introducing the substance, the field strength is reduced from the value E vacuum to the value E, where E vacuum is equal to epsilon r into E. From above equations, we can say that epsilon r is found to be independent of the shape or the dimensions of the conductors and is solely a characteristic of the particular dielectric medium used. Epsilon r is called the relative permittivity or the dielectric constant of the medium. In the SI system of units, the permittivity of the medium is defined as epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 into epsilon r, where epsilon 0 is equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 Faraday per meter is an electric constant which represents the permittivity of vacuum, while epsilon r is the relative static permittivity of the material. The term dielectric constant is sometimes used for both epsilon and epsilon r. The dielectric constant of a material is a macroscopic quantity that measures how effective an electric field is in polarizing the material. Next, the derivation of the above equations. Let us apply Gauss theorem to a parallel plate condenser without a dielectric and then with a dielectric. In the first case, when no dielectric is present, the electric field E0 at any point on the Gaussian surface is given by integration over E0 dA is equal to Q by epsilon 0. That is, E0A is equal to Q by epsilon 0, which implies that E0 is equal to Q by A into epsilon 0. In the second case, when dielectric is present, the E0 net charge within the Gaussian surface is Q minus Q dash, as shown in the figure, where Q dash is the induced surface charge and the field surface charge and the field. So we have integration over E into dA is equal to Q minus Q prime by epsilon 0. E into A is equal to Q by epsilon 0 minus Q prime by epsilon 0. So finally what we get is the total electric field E is equal to Q by A into epsilon 0 minus Q prime by A epsilon 0. This equation indicates that the induced charge Q prime tends to weaken the original field, that is E is less than E0, which reveals itself as a reduction in the potential difference when dielectric is present and not present respectively. Then we have E0 by E is equal to V0 by Vt. The corresponding expression for capacitance are C0 is equal to A into epsilon 0 by D, which is equal to Q by V0, and capacitance C is equal to A into epsilon 0 into epsilon R by D, which is equal to Q into Vd. So we have C by C0 is equal to epsilon R, which is equal to V0 by Vd. The above equation implies that E0 by E is equal to epsilon R and E is equal to E0 by epsilon R, which is equal to Q by A into epsilon 0 into epsilon R, from which the equation that we get is equal to Q by A into epsilon 0 epsilon R is equal to Q by A into epsilon 0 minus Q prime by A epsilon 0, that is Q minus Q prime is equal to Q by epsilon R. This shows that the induced charge Q prime is less than the free charge Q and is 0 when epsilon R is equal to 1 or the dielectric is absent. So in the table 1 we have listed some of the materials with dielectric constant. For example, for vacuum the epsilon R is 1 by definition, whereas for air it is 1.0006. Similarly, for benzene it is 2.284, and for materials like glass it is in between 5 to 10. And for some liquid medium, for example liquid ammonia, it is around 25, whereas this is very high for barium titanate, which is equal to 1200. So the relative permittivity of most of the materials, important materials, are given in the table 1. Electric flux density and polarization. Due to the polarization of the medium, charges are induced at the surfaces of the dielectric. The charge due to electric polarization at the boundary near the positive plate of the capacitor being negative and vice versa. If Q is the charge on the plate and Q prime is the induced charge on the boundary of the dielectric, then we can write equation as Q by A is equal to Q by A into epsilon R plus Q prime by A, that is Q by A is equal to epsilon 0 into Q divided by A into epsilon 0 into epsilon R plus another term Q prime by A. Next is electric flux density and polarization. Last term of this equation gives induced surface charge per unit area called the electric polarization P. Substituting E is equal to Q by A epsilon 0 epsilon R, from above equation we get Q by A is equal to E into epsilon 0 plus P. Now define electric flux density D is equal to Q by A. it gives d is equal to E into epsilon 0 plus P. In free space where there is no dielectric, so the P polarization is equal to 0, we have d is equal to E into epsilon 0 with d is equal to Q by A. Thus capital D is equal to Q by A, which is equal to Q into epsilon 0 epsilon r divided by A into epsilon 0 epsilon r is equal to E into epsilon 0 into epsilon r is equal to E into epsilon. Then the above equation becomes epsilon into E is equal to epsilon 0 E plus P. So from which we can calculate P is equal to E into epsilon 0 epsilon r minus E into epsilon 0, and P is equal to then E into epsilon 0 into epsilon r minus 1. So epsilon r minus 1 is equal to P by E into epsilon 0. So we can write P into epsilon E into epsilon 0 is equal to chi, where chi is the electric susceptibility of the dielectric medium. Polarizability and source of polarizability. Because the polarization of a medium, that is the alignment of molecular moment, is produced by the field, it is plausible to assume that the molecular moment is proportional to the field. Thus we write mu is equal to alpha into E, where alpha is a constant called polarizability of the molecule. In the discussion of dielectric materials, we usually talk about the polarization P of the material, which is defined as the dipole moment per unit volume. If the number of molecules per unit volume is n, and if each has a dipole moment mu, then the polarization is given by P equals to mu into n. Polarizability and source of polarizability. Here we have assumed that all the molecular moments lie in the same direction. So polarization now can be written as P is equal to capital N alpha into E. So from the above equation we can write capital D is equal to epsilon 0 E plus N into alpha into E, which is equal to epsilon 0 into whole of 1 plus N alpha by epsilon 0 into E. Comparing this result, we find that epsilon r is equal to 1 plus n into capital N into alpha by epsilon 0, giving the dielectric constant in terms of polarizability. This is a useful result in that it expresses the macroscopic quantity epsilon r in terms of microscopic quantity alpha, thus forming a link between two descriptions of dielectric material. The electric susceptibility chi of a medium is defined by the relation P is equal to epsilon 0 chi into E, which relates the polarization to the field. By comparison of this equation, we find that the susceptibility and polarizability are interrelated by P is equal to n alpha into epsilon 0. So now we can say that epsilon r is equal to 1 plus chi. Sources of polarizability. Basically, polarizability is a consequence of the fact that the molecules, which are the building blocks of the all substances, which are composed of both positive charge, that is nuclei, and negative charge, that is electrons. When a field acts on a molecule, the positive charges are displaced in a direction opposite to that of the field. The effect is therefore to pull the opposite charges apart, that is to polarize the molecule. There are different types of polarization process depending on the structure of the molecule which constitute the solid. If the molecule have a permanent moment, that is a moment even in the absence of the field, we speak of a dipolar molecule and a dipolar substance. Source of polarizability. An example of a dipolar molecule is the H2O molecule, that is water molecule. The dipole moment of the two OH bonds, as shown in the figure, add vectorially to give a non-vanishing net dipole moments. Some molecules are non-dipolar, possessing no permanent moments. A common example is the carbon dioxide molecules, which is also represented schematically in the above figure. The moments of the two CO bonds cancel each other because of the rectilinear shape of the molecule, resulting in a zero net dipole moment. Despite the fact that the individual molecule in a dipolar substance have permanent moments, the net polarization vanishes in the absence of an external field because the molecular moments are randomly oriented, resulting in a complete cancellation of the polarization. When a field is applied to a substance, However, the molecular dipole tend to align with the field, and this results in a net non-vanishing polarization. This leads to the so-called dipolar polarizability. If the molecule contains ionic bonds, then the fields tend to stretch the length of these bonds. This occurs in sodium chloride as shown in the next figure. For instance, because the fields tends to displace the positive ion Na plus to the right and the negative ion chlorine minus to the left, resulting in a stretching in the length of the bonds. The effect of this change in length is to produce a net dipole moment in the unit cell where previously there was none. Since the polarization here is due to the relative displacements of oppositely charged ions, we speak of ionic polarizability. Figure 5 represents the ionic polarization in sodium chloride. The fields displaces the ions Na plus and chlorine minus in opposite direction, changing the length of the bond. Ionic polarizability exists whenever the substance is either ionic, as in sodium chloride NaCl, or dipolar, as in the case of H2O or water molecule, because in each of these cases there are ionic bonds present, but in substances in which such bonds are missing, such as silicon and germanium, ionic polarizability is absent. Figure 6 represents electronic polarization. For in case of A, it is for unpolarized atom, and B, it is atom polarized as a result of the field. The third type of polarizability arises because the individual ions or atoms in a molecule are themselves polarized by the field. In the case of sodium chloride, that is NaCl, each of the Na plus and chlorine minus ions are polarized. Thus, the sodium plus, that is Na plus ion, is polarized because the electrons in its various cells are displaced to the left relative to the nucleus, as shown in the figure 6. It is called the electronic polarizability. Electronic polarizability arises even in the case of a neutral atom, again because of the relative displacement of orbital electrons. In general, therefore, we may write for the total polarizability alpha is equal to alpha E plus alpha I plus alpha D, which is sum of the various contributions. Alpha E, alpha I and alpha D are the electronic, ionic and dipolar polarizabilities respectively. The electronic contribution is present in any type of substance, but the presence of other two terms depends on the material under consideration. Thus, the term alpha I is present in ionic substance, while in a dipolar substance all three contributions are present. In covalent crystals such as silicon and germanium, which are non-ionic and non-dipolar, the polarizability is entirely electronics in nature. Dipolar polarizability, for instance, exhibits strong dependence on temperature, while the other two contributions are essentially temperature independent. Another important distinction between the various polarizability emerges when one examines the behavior of the AC polarizability that is induced by an alternating field. Figure 7 shows a typical dependence of this polarizability on frequency over a wide range, extending from the static all the way up to the ultraviolet region. It can be seen that the range from omega is equal to 0 to omega is equal to omega d, where omega d for dipolar, is some frequency usually in the microwave region. The polarizability is essentially constant. In the neighborhood of omega d, however, the polarizability decreases by a substantial amount. This amount corresponds precisely, in fact, to the dipolar contribution alpha d. The reason for the disappearance of alpha d in the frequency range omega greater than omega d is that the field now oscillates too rapidly for the dipole to follow, and so the dipole remains essentially stationary. The polarizability remains similarly unchanged in the frequency range from omega d to omega I, and then drops down at the higher frequency. The frequency omega I lies in the infrared region and corresponds to the frequency of the transverse optical phonon in the crystal. For the frequency range omega greater than omega I, the ions with their heavy masses are no longer able to follow the very rapidly oscillating field, and consequently the ionic polarizability alpha I vanishes as shown in the figure 7. Thus, in the frequency range above the infrared, only the electronic polarizability remains effective, because the electrons, being very light, are still able to follow the field even at high frequency. This range includes both the visible and ultraviolet regions. At still higher frequency, above the electronic frequency, we however WE omega E, however, the electronic contribution vanishes, because even the electrons are too heavy to follow the field with its very rapid oscillations. The frequencies omega d and omega I, characterizing the dipolar and ionic polarizabilities respectively, depend on the substance under consideration and vary from one substance to another. However, their orders of magnitude remain in the region indicated above, that is, in the microwave and infrared respectively. The various polarizability may thus be determined by measuring the substance at various appropriate frequencies. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. So what we learned is that electric dipole moment with its derivation have been discussed in detail. We have discussed what polarization is and how it is described by the polarization vector P. Susceptibility and permittivity have been studied in brief. Electric flux density along with polarization and source of polarization have been discussed. In the last, frequency dependence on the polarizability was explained. Thank you.